Hello there, I'm Nick Sturdivant, along with Austin Walker. Happy 2024.
2024, can you believe it? We made it.
Right, we made it. Day 4 of 2024.
Sure.
There are a lot of new laws on the books here in North Carolina.
Exactly.
One interesting law that you covered recently that affects students and parents. Talk about it, man.
Yeah, so basically if you have a driver or have a permit driver, obviously parents are already scared enough when they hit the road as it is, so this actually impacts them. So coming up in 2024, this means that, normally you got to wait a couple more months to get your license. It's actually 9 months you're going to be having that permit to have a supervisor in the car with that, what that means. But starting in 2024, that now goes up to 9 months from 6 months. So this is actually different though. Originally, it was actually 12 months during COVID. But then that changed down to 6 months, and they were like, well, that's not enough. So now they're moving it back up to 9 to kind of give that driver a little bit more ease and a little bit more practice behind the wheel.
What was it like? Because you were out there with the last day the DMV was open. What was it like out there?
It was mayhem, actually. It was, imagine every procrastinator in the world actually all coming together in one place, trying to get something to go. And obviously our DMV system only has those walk-in appointments past noon. So imagine trying to have hundreds of people starting at noon to 5, try to get their last-minute stuff done. So because the law changes coming up on the 1st, the last day it was open, it was a mad dash. It was a scramble just to get everything finished. Yeah.
How did we get to this point?
How do we? The idea of it, I mean, obviously because of the law changes, what we saw, it had to make people think. So obviously driving instructors are weighing in as well, saying, during COVID, they say they just handed out licenses left and right. So people on the road right now are not as skilled as those years ago, right? Yeah. So this law change, those instructors are saying this is obviously a positive for them because they're going to have, more peace of mind for those drivers who are driving right next to you. As for parents, it could be the opposite stretch of the imagination. My parents are the same way. They drove me to all the after-school practices. Yep. All the sports, which they obviously loved and appreciated every single day. But that being said, this just gives them 3 more months to maybe get more confident.
Yeah, and you talked to a state DMV official. I want to get your take on it, but first let's hear from him.
Why did it change so much?
That's not really a question I can answer. That was the decision the legislature made. There were a lot of things that changed during COVID. And they did shorten that time frame, I think, to sort of move people through the process. They also waived a lot of road tests and that sort of thing during that time frame, and so those provisions have all expired by now. And so I think the plan originally was to go back to 12 months, but they heard from so many people that they wanted to take it back to 6 months, but then they also heard from people that expressed how important having a longer time frame was for teen drivers before they go out on their own.
So, okay, 9 months sounds like the sweet spot. Mixed reactions.
Yeah, you can definitely say that. I think we've all been there when you're just waiting to get your license. I mean, I was that kid who was the last person in my friend group to drive. I was always being like, hey, can I have a ride, please? Because I was the young one. I was a bad kid, so they put me out of the house as soon as possible. So it was the last for everything. That being said, I think driving instructors, like we've been talking about, saying, during that COVID time, there wasn't many road tests like you just heard about. There wasn't a lot of, maybe barriers or steps to take to get that test done or to get that license. So obviously, it was way easier. So that means those individuals probably need a little bit more training, a little more testing.
Now I feel insulted because I got my license here in North Carolina.
Listen, if the shoe fits. But and I mean, at the end of the day, obviously there are some mixed opinions on this. Also, there are those parents that obviously say, I want my kid to be safe and I want them to have as much time as possible. So that 6 months was just a minimum. They could wait as long as they wanted to, especially with our DMV system, where it could take months to just get an appointment. But like we said, driving instructors weighing in, here's what one of them had to tell us.
Oh, yeah. They were very upset. They didn't think it was fair. My friends were able to get their license in 6 months, and now I've got to wait 12 months. But with all of them, even with the parents, I tried to explain, this is extra time for you to be able to get well equipped to be on the road by yourself. I think 12 months is great. My students will not be happy to hear me say that, but 12 months give plenty of time for them to learn, to be supervised, to have practice under the supervision of a well-experienced person. 9 months, I think falls a little short, but that is what they've come up with.
Look, I understand, but so she wants 12 months. A lot of students were upset. Did you find any students that were okay with the 9 months?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Some students were like, yeah, I think 9 months or longer, because again, a lot of people take those driving, like those lessons before they even, they continue to do them because they're not confident yet. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, North Carolina driving is already scary. Yeah. For those new drivers, it could be very intimidating. So some of them, yes, very gung-ho about having to wait. They were very happy about it. Other ones, not so much, but that's just, the sad consequence of this.
And to your point, I remember when I got my driver's permit and I was actually, driving with my mom in the car. I was terrified of the highway. So maybe
white knuckles.
Oh man, gripping, death grip on the wheel. So I understand, but it sounds like 9 months is the sweet spot. So we'll continue to follow the story. I know you will continue to follow the story.
Absolutely. And I think also just to leave us with this is that there are so many rules with the DMV about what you can and cannot do or when you can come. So obviously the DMV North Carolina is a by appointment for the first half of the day. So if you're showing up at 5 a.m. to get in line, you're literally not doing anything or any service to yourself. You have to wait. Those walk-in appointments are not until 12 o'clock until 5. So the DMV tells us in North Carolina that if you are coming in to do a walk-in appointment, let's say you can't get one and you're going to try to test your luck and get a walk-in, they say show up at about 11 or 10:30 so you can wait in line, because that is when like an hour and a half before those DMV doors open for those walk-ins. But other than that, make an appointment. I know it's months out, but they say that is the best chance you can get to make it in.
Good advice. Thank you, Austin. Yeah. And the change in permits, not the only change. They go into effect this month. Get ready for more license plate readers. The North Carolina Department of Transportation will be allowed to partner up with the SBI for a pilot program. They say it'll help find criminal suspects and not be used for traffic violations. Plus, new regulations for addiction recovery and treatment centers. The law forces centers to use easy-to-understand language about the services they provide. Also, the second half of a sweeping election law is now in effect just in time for 2024 in the election that is coming this year. Our Anna King has those changes.
Well, based on the changes that are underway and that have already been approved, it seems everyone should be aware before heading to the polls this season. Election officials warn operations at the polls will look a little different this season.
With any changes, there's some uncertainty,
especially with new election laws under Senate Bill 747. One change, anyone with access to ballots or records who shares how someone votes could be charged with a Class 1 misdemeanor. But one of the biggest changes that will affect voters.
If you vote absentee, you must have that in my office by 7:30 on election night. It has to be either received through the mail or brought into the office by then. After that, I won't be able to take it.
In addition to that, all voters must show their ID. Same-day registration is still a possibility, but you must complete an application, show your ID, and provide proof of residency for the county to verify. Mecklenburg County Elections Director Michael Dickerson says even with these changes, everything at the polls should run smoothly as long as everyone remembers to plan ahead.
The biggest thing, though, to make sure is that if you are thinking of voting in the primary, which I hope everybody is, make sure you're registered to vote 25 days before the election. That takes care of all that stuff. We handle your registration, we get you registered, we let you go and vote, and you vote in the normal course of action.
Election officials are urging voters and poll workers to stay up to date as even more changes unravel, especially before that March 5th primary. So to learn more about the changes, you can head to our website at WCNC.com. But for now, here in Uptown, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, now to the most unique law on the books here in North Carolina this month. Is actually one that went into effect on the 1st of the month. The law requires pornography websites to proactively verify the age of users before allowing them access to the site. The move prompted the popular website Pornhub to instead block access to its content around North Carolina. Now, law enforcement isn't expected to police sites. Instead, the bill sets up a process for parents whose children are able to access pornography to sue providers. More than half a dozen states have passed the age verification law, according to the National Decency Coalition. A similar bill has been introduced in 9 other states. Well, thank you for joining us. And if there's a topic you think we should take a deeper dive into, let us know. Send us an email at newstips@wcnc.com.